Hey guys, just take a look at this anime's story here. After going out to protect two young girls, Kazuya Shina wakes up in a world he always dreamed of. A world of magic and fantasy. He is reincarnated as the third son of a noble family. At the age of 5, the gods bestow upon him numerous divine blessings and extraordinary status. And there, the story unfolds with Kane having many adventures and learning a lot while trying to hide his true power from everyone. The anime begins with Kazuya going to a place called Combine, something like a convenience store. There, he witnesses a thug attacking two innocent girls. He jumps in to save the girls but ends up getting stabbed in the stomach. Unfortunately, Kazuya dies. But right after that, he wakes up in a place he's never seen before and wondering where he is. He observes the surroundings and notices a maid-dressed girl near him. When she sees him awake, she gets emotional and calls him by his new name, Kane. Then, his supposed new mother also calls him and places his face between her breasts. At that moment, Kane looks into the mirror and realizes that his appearance has radically changed, and now he's just a 3-year-old boy. Seeing this, he goes into shock and starts freaking out, wondering how this could happen. After some time in denial, he begins to understand what happened and even feels happy to have reincarnated and started a new life. He begins to investigate how this world works and who he is. He discovers that his name is Kane Von Silford, and he is 3 years old. He has a father and mother, and an older sister who is 2 years older. But his father is a rogue and has other children from his first wife who are older and will inherit the throne. He explains that his father is a marquis who defends his nation from invasions and is highly respected. Kane continues to study and learns many things, discovering that the world is full of monsters and magic is common in that place. Kane is very happy and starts to study to learn to read and write, as this will allow him to learn magic from the books. After learning to read and write, he asks his father to let him read the magic books. But they tell him that he must wait until he's 5 years old to use magic, as he can only be initiated at that age. Until then, he must dedicate himself to studying magic from the books. Kane continues to study and secretly manages to use basic magic. Then, his maniac sister begins to teach him about the history of that world and tells him that an adventurer named Yuya was the one who founded the kingdom they live in. Those who are familiar with Isekai anime that are being released may have noticed that this is the name of another strong protagonist who also went to another world. That's at least a big coincidence. But going back to the story, she also explains to him about the different races that exist, like dwarves, elves, and beastmen. Time passes, and Kane is now 5 years old. Finally, he can be initiated and allowed to use magic freely. His parents explain about the god's blessing, telling him that he can receive blessings from level 1 to 5, with level 5 being the strongest and very rare for someone to receive. After that, they go to the church, and the priest performs the ritual for him to receive his blessing. After finishing, an old voice smiles, and suddenly Kane is transported to the world of the gods. The gods say that they know who he really is and reincarnated him out of pity, as he died unnecessarily trying to protect the girls from the thug. And because he died in such a fruitless way, they revived him to give him another chance. Kane is desolate to discover this, and he starts crying. Afterwards, the gods say that as a reward, they will grant him all their blessing. Kane thanks them and is happy to have a new family. Kane returns to the world, and his father asks him to show his stats. Kane feels anxious since he received blessings from all the gods. He pretends to have a stomachache and runs away. He hides and checks his stats. He notices that all the blessings are at level 10, which is impossible, as the maximum in that world was level 5. He realizes he made the right choice not showing them to his parents. Luckily, the gods left him with an ability to hide his stats. Later, they celebrate Kane's baptism, and this time he shows it using his ability to hide them. However, even so, they are completely shocked by the amount of blessings and enormous amount of mana he possesses. Kane realizes he forgot to hide these attributes and ends up making a mistake. His father says that with all these abilities, plus his item box, he has secured a successful life forever. He also warns him not to show his stats to anyone, as having so much power could make him seem like a threat to the kingdom. Later, Kane decides to try an invocation from the book his father gave him. He goes outside and tries to summon the so-called creature. Kane expected a cute creature, but he summons something totally demonic. His sister appears, and the monster decides to attack her and her friend. But Kane interposes and tries to save them. He manages to send the creature back, but ends up taking a big hit and faints. Later, he wakes up and is surprised to be alive. His sister thanks him, and in his thoughts, Kane decides he will help the people of that world. The next day, during breakfast, his father announces that he will hire private teachers for magic and combat for him. Kane is very excited upon hearing this. Just Like how I get excited when you guys like and subscribe to this channel, subscribe. There. Soon the teachers arrive, and Kane takes a look. But he trips on the balcony, and guess where he falls? Exactly where everyone falls face first in animes. On the teacher's boobs, a classic. The butler introduces them to Kane. Their names are Millie and Nina. From now on, they will be his teachers for magic and combat for the next 3 years. They start teaching him, and quickly discover that the boy is a prodigy. Millie is impressed and decides to have a sparring match against Kane. They start fighting and Kane completely overpowers her, making her give up for now and have Nina teach him magic instead. Nina says she wants to start with the basics, but Kane tells her to skip that part, since he already learned it from the books. Just like Millie, Nina is very impressed to see that Kane can use all 4 elements. Kane explains that he has the blessing of the goddess of magic and the god of war. That's why he can do those things. He also reveals that he has the ability to hide his status. Upon hearing this, the teachers fall into depression, knowing that he is a genius, and there isn't much they can teach him. Kane asks them to request permission from his father to train outside the castle. His father agrees, as he knows it would be bad if one of Kane's spells ended up destroying the castle. But he sets a condition: they must return before sunset. Kane is very excited as he leaves the castle, as it is his first time outside since the time he got baptized. Nina asks him to perform a test by directing a fire spell at a large rock, which he does as she asks, resulting in a huge explosion. They are completely astonished by his power, but before they can express their surprise, they sense the presence of monsters approaching to attack them. A killer rabbit comes toward them, but it diverts and heads straight for Kane. They worry, but Kane deals with it easily. After that, they teach Kane a new technique called search. It serves to detect monsters in the vicinity. Just by observing them, Kane figures out a variation of the technique, where he can also see the quantity of monsters and their direction. Kane fights against an infernal rabbit, but it escapes into the forest. When Kane tries to chase it, the 2 teachers stop him and advise against entering the forest, as there are very strong monsters there. The training is called off for the day, and that night Kane checks his stats. He notices that in just 1 day, he went from level 1 to level 8. The next day, his teachers take him to the guild to gather information on monsters. Kane is very happy as he has always seen this in animes he watched. The guild lady provides information to Millie and Nina, but afterwards, a bully starts harassing them. They reject him, and he tries to force himself on them. Kane gets angry and intervenes, telling them to leave them alone. Kane beats up the first guy, who gets even angrier. He tries to attack Kane, but Kane easily avoids all his strikes. In the final attack, Kane stops him with just 2 fingers and demands that he apologizes to his teachers. But the bully refuses, and Kane throws him out of the guild. Now only 2 thugs remain. Cowardly, they threaten to stab the teachers' necks, but Kane deals with them easily as well. Afterward, the teachers thank him for protecting them, and Millie praises his combat skills. They continue training and defeating monsters. Time passes, and the end of their lessons is nearing. Kane decides to give them gifts as a thank you for teaching him. For the past 3 years, he remembers that they once mentioned they would like to have magic item bags, but they are very expensive and rare to find. Kane comes up with the idea to make the bags himself, 2 of them to give to the teachers. For that, he will need materials from monsters in the forest. He defeats a bloody ogre and then a Terra dragon, legendary monsters that would normally require an entire army to be defeated. The castle soldiers, upon seeing the explosions in the forest, think they are under attack. His father goes with the soldiers and upon arrival, notices a trail of destruction and finds a handkerchief which he discovers belongs to Kane. The next day, Kane has his final adventure with his teachers. After finishing, he talks to them, and they tell him that it was his last test, and now he is graduated in magic and combat. Kane thanks them and gives them the 2 item bags he made for them. Millie and Nina ask Kane how he did that, and nonchalantly, he says he defeated a bloody ogre and a Terra dragon. Upon hearing this, they are completely shocked. As I mentioned before, those monsters would require at least an army or a large group of adventurers to defeat. Kane explains that he thinks the bags don't hold much, but he made them from the heart. He says they should fit only the size of the mansion where he lives. And once again, upon hearing what Kane says, both of them are completely astonished, because the magic bag they would buy would fit at most a small carriage. He adds that a bag with the capacity he mentioned costs a lifetime of work. They say that something like that could attract assassins after them, and they might be in danger having it. Kane, on his part, tells them not to worry, as he enchanted the bags to be used only by them. And if someone else tries to use them, the weight of everything inside will fall on that person. In the end, they thank him and say it was a great experience teaching him for those 3 years. Kane also thanks them and says he learned a lot from them and that he's very happy. While he's speaking, both of them give him a double kiss, and he blushes. They say their goodbyes and leave. Now Kane is 8 years old and is about to begin his life of adventures. So, did you guys like this beginning of the anime? Tell me what you think down below. I'll read everything, okay? Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to give that awesome support that only you can give. And finally, I left you a really awesome video too. It tells the story of Yuya, a chubby guy who always suffered bullying inside and outside his home. But when he inherits his grandfather's house, he discovers a secret door that leads him to another world. There he gains super powerful abilities and his body transforms, becoming super handsome. You should check it out, the video is amazing, okay? See you.